All right. Hey guys, it's me again. Unit 3, Lesson 9. This is going to be a really quick video because if this is an important unit or important lesson because we're learning about looping and we're learning about random numbers. And one of the rubric marks that you'll get on your create task is really looking at understanding abstraction. And looking at the idea of using math and numbers and logic. So looping is a really big piece of that abstraction that you can be building into your program. So you want to go through this slowly. You want to really make sure that you are reading all of the directions. The directions are key for understanding. And I just thought I would go over a couple things in Bubble 8 and Bubble 9. To just kind of reiterate, this is one of these things where you have to read. So once you start working with the idea of looping, and then you start working with using random numbers and random placements, you can actually make some pretty cool things. So we're going to actually be working on making a really cool scene with our fish and our starfish and our seaweed. This is kind of the end result that you see over here. If we run this here, we just have, I've actually put bubbles in mine right now, but we just have a couple things. So we'll be building on this as we go. But one thing I wanted you to look at here is understanding that top-down design, because you will be asked in the AP Create to describe your iterative and incremental approach. And this top-down design is what's really going to be used, or you can use, to describe how you plan out what you're building. So here we're looking at the top-down design. We're going to talk about the overview of the program structure and about high-level function calls, which we see here. And these are really just telling us exactly in the order of what we want to be drawn in our digital scene here. So these are calling to the functions that are further down in our program. And then we've got our high-level functions, which are taking those individual low-level functions, so the drawing of the fish, one fish, and then putting it into drawing of all fishes, all fish. And that then gets called back up here in the high-level function calls. So it's really important. In this particular one, in lesson Bubble 8, all you have to do here is review the structure of the code at this level. Run the code to familiarize yourself with what it draws, and when you're ready, move on. So basically, all that this particular bubble is asking you to do is read through the code. And really do read through the code. It helps, it helps, it helps. Understand that the turtle is hiding, the pen's going up, then the first thing it's calling to is the draw background, which then we know refers to down here, the background at the bottom, because that's the first, that was one of the first things that was created. Oh, where did my background go? So you want to make sure that there's the background. So you want to make sure that you understand how this works. Draw all seagrass. So what does that mean? Well, it means it's pulling to the seagrass function here, that lower level function, but it's creating a higher level function because it's asking you to draw and put a seagrass at the moment into a random location. So every time we run it, the seagrass goes somewhere different, right? And it's different lengths. So we can see the randomness here. Eventually we're going to be adding more with the looping function so that we could have a whole bunch of seagrass. That's the goal and plan. So you want to make sure that you go through and understand how this works, right? So this move to a random number anywhere between 0 and 320. So that's your location, right? And then it's asking you, so that's the location. The Y is staying the same because we want the seagrass to always come from the floor, but the X is moving, right? So you want to always make sure that that's how different the sizes are going to be. And it's going to be moving all along here. And then you're also looking at the same thing as how big this is going to be, okay? So the goal here is really to truly, truly, truly read. Because as we build on, it's going to ask you to start adding things. And if you notice again, this workspace piece, This means that everything you save here will move on to the next one. So this is where we draw the bubble. And I actually started putting some bubbles in here. So you're going to go through and add bubbles, and then we go on to the next and the next and the next. And by the end, you'll have this beautiful scenery of a fish and a whole bunch of sea stars and then seaweed and bubbles, which will set us up nicely for lesson 10, where we're going to, as a group, you're going to put together a digital scene, and every person in the group is going to create a function that will then be applied into the same program. So that's where we're headed. I don't know if this was helpful, but it's just another lesson where you get to hear my voice. Talk to you later. Bye.